Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhyev Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, this week we are starting with Vaishnava etiquette. So I'll be sharing my screen. Can you all hear?
No problem.
We can see the screen, but we are not able to.
1 second.
Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I was requested to speak on the same topic. There was a seminar or a weekend, Martin Luther King's national holiday weekend, past weekend, in Chicago or in Naperville. So the topic is relevant to anywhere, everywhere. I'll give a little background of how the idea of having this topic came up. In many places, Naperville is one, there's deities. And along with the deities, then there's worship of the deities. And there was a thought, well, there's a number of persons that are wanting second initiation, starting to do second initiation. And wouldn't it be nice if there was some training and education how to do deity worship nicely? So there was a seminar, and the international, whatever he's called, the director of deity worship or department of deity worship chairman or something, Nishringa Kavacha, came all the way from Australia, and he participated. The primary person in all of Europe, and he resides in London, he came. The North American deity worship minister came. It was a nice event. It was all recorded. And those of you that want to see the recordings, you get to see the recordings. So it's very comprehensive, systematic. A lot of it was hands-on. And then there was, I know Nishringa Kavacha for years and years, and he's strong, and he's a little on the conservative side, which is nice with deity worship, because sometimes it starts to go off this way or starts to go up that way, and he yanks it back. Here's a little example. I don't know if you have this situation here at the St. Louis Temple. We sing this song every day when after Mangala Arti, we sing Tulsi Puja. Yes? Your temple, this temple also. So somehow it has kind of morphed from Vishnu Bhakti to Krishna Bhakti. You know what I'm talking about? So one devotee in Alachua, scholarly devotee, Pran Govinda Das Prabhu, he did some research and he wrote a little document, and I like the document. Because it just says what you'd expect it to say. And it forwarded it to Nrsinga Kavacha, and he really liked it because it just says what no. When you say Vishnu Bhakti, implied is Krishna, because Vishnu is Krishna and Krishna is Vishnu. Yes, we know the difference, but the verse written says Vishnu Bhakti, so we should say Vishnu Bhakti. That's a little example of something going a little bit off, and then next thing you know, it's a little bit off. Next thing you know, it's a little bit off, and what happened? People got creative and they got inspired, and so deity worship has standards. Where do we find those standards? The Hari Bhakti Vilas. What is Hari Bhakti Vilas? Narada Pancharatra. Where does that? So there's standards for deity worship, and they spent the devotees involved in the deity worship in Naperville became very active, and there was some question. See what I told you? Some people don't come on time. We may have to do one more shift. Let's see how it goes. Some of those that are looking forward to one day becoming second initiated, Nrsinga Kavacha was no. And then a little arm twisting and pleading, and he said, okay. But no, they couldn't do hands on, they could be observers of, or something like that. Because deity worship is a very serious business. And you know why is it serious? Because the deity is Krishna, or the deity form of the Lord and the Lord are not different. This little boy needs to find a place to sit down. Somebody knows how to help him find a place to sit down, can help him find a place to sit down. Because he doesn't know the word no. He only does what he wants to do. I've met this little boy already. If he can't sit still, you know what to do, right? Thank you. Please don't make me say it again. The idea Srila Prabhupada gave us the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And it was what it was. And in course of time, he made it more than the skeletal ABC, and he reached a certain standard. And then he started saying, boil the milk, meaning take the milk and keep it at a nice temperature, and the water can evaporate and you get thicker and thicker. It gets, so he wanted us to maintain standards. So with that idea of the deity worship training, which the devotees really liked, and it really helped in the deity worship at the temple, the participation and so forth, and the quality and the standards of cleanliness and, you know, everything. So then there was, okay, what's next? And what's next, it has everything to do with the new people are coming in the door. And the new people coming in the door see the people that are inside the door. And they're evaluating Prabhupada, which means ISKCON, and by how we behave. And we don't always behave the way that a devotee should behave, or speak the way a devotee should speak, achar and prachar. Not always the way it should be. Could be, would be. You know, what's the standard of sadachar? Sad achar. The behavior of one who is attached to Sat, the absolute truth. So there's an expectation that devotees should be like this. And the observation is some devotees are like this, and some other devotees are like that, and some devotees are like that. And that's not what the Hare Krishna movement is, not what Prabhupada wanted. He was, he'd bring in the milk and then boil the milk. So there was this idea, nice idea. Let us have training and education so we can help our members understand what is proper achar or a Vaishnav or Vaishnav etiquette. It was a nice idea. And the purpose is boiling milk or helping the Hare Krishna movement to become what it could be, should be, would be, but by training and education. And some people will take it and some people will continue doing what they continue to do, and it'll be apparent that's not the norm. If we have the norm is sadachar, but how do you get the sadachar of training and education? That was the idea. Then my idea took it like, what's the Hare Krishna movement? What's ISKCON going to be 50 years from now? Maybe you don't think like that, but older fellows like me think like that sometimes. What's it going to look like? Look around the room, and the leaders that are in the room, that's what it's going to be going into the future. No, not everybody that's in the room, but at least ISKCON St. Louis. Maybe some special personality will fly in from somewhere and give leadership and shape it in a way that it's nice. But largely, likely, it's the people in the room. That's ISKCON St. Louis going 50 years from now. So what are we doing today to make ISKCON 50 years from now what we want ISKCON 50 years from now to be? That's what this is all about. That's my position. And I found something out that I had forgotten in the course of giving this seminar. This is preamble, and then we'll go into the topic. Two devotees in the audience, I don't think I need to say their names. One was a college student in 2025 at the university that they were attending. They heard me speak on the topic of respect, 2005. This is not 2005, it's 2025. So 20 years ago, I was saying something. I don't remember what I said in 2005 at a university about respect, but they do. And then they said there was recording and they listened to it again and again and again, and it impacted their life 20 years from now. From then. Then another devotee in another place, in another circumstance, said something similar. I don't remember what I said in 2006 to this devotee. They said they listened to the recording many, many times, and it made a strong impression. And these devotees are leaders in their communities right now, based upon Vaishnava etiquette starts with respect. Say it negatively. All people, by nature, living entities, not just humans, by nature, there's a desire to love and be loved. Dogs and cats and mice and birds, and there's relationships, and we living entities want to love and be loved. We want relationships that are meaningful relationships. And then there's other things that happen besides that, but we want it. So if supposing this is a class for Western people, supposing you want a relationship, but you don't know who you are, you don't know who the other person is, you try to have a relationship with them, what happens? Dysfunctional. It's not a wholesome, genuine relationship. It's something, but it's messy and complicated and sometimes explosive and sometimes. So how to have a relationship where you know who you are and who the other person is, and you have a meaningful relationship that it takes purification, and it's just spirit on the spiritual platform. It takes some training to come to from the material to the spiritual platform. And such relationships and such understanding starts with respect. We're all chanting Hare Krishna without exception. I mean, some persons may be new people, but even the new persons, if you sit right there, Mataji, I'm a traffic cop. If you sit right there, then the next person that comes in won't be able to come in. So you have to come sit where it's not so comfortable. And those of you that are sitting, come forward a little bit. 1, 2, 3, come forward a little bit. Thank you very much. So that people that come a little bit later, they have a place to sit. Sorry to interrupt like this, but it's appreciating the people that are going to come a little later. Right, Bo? Shy. Okay. Relationship starts, having a relationship with another person requires knowing who they are, and without an understanding who they are, it's not a meaningful, it's a just dysfunctional, something that's not a real meaningful relationship. It's something, but it's not a meaningful relationship. And to have a meaningful relationship, how can you have a relationship where you don't respect the other person? So the absence of respect is disrespect. That's a fundamental thing. In the course of some of these examples, the next, several parts of this, my presentation at least, where there's an absence of respect, it's disrespect. Where there's a presence of respect, then there's an opportunity for a real relationship, and being in a position where you're looking up to the person because there's respect, you can act in such a way that, supposing there's some shortcoming on that person who you're looking up to, they're inspired by your good behavior, good conduct, your respectfulness. It makes for an open exchange, a relationship that's spiritual and dynamic. So Vaishnava etiquette starts with respect. That's the starting point. And we're going to make several references this evening that's kind of like a springboard into what comes later. Starting is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. As you know, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote many books, many books. One of those many books is Chaitanya Shikshamrita, which covers many things, the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He writes about respect. Proper respect should be given considering the person's status. This is called maryada. You're going to see this word many times. Maryada means etiquette. Not giving proper respect is considered a great fault. Dosha. One should give respect to all human beings, but one should give more respect to man with position. Most respect should be given to the devotee. So he's now going to give a list of 8, starting with having a human form, and then going up and up and up and up and up to the devotee, which is Lord Chaitanya's teachings to Sanatana Goswami. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings, there are 5 sections in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Lord Chaitanya gives instructions, like extensive. Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Prakashananda Saraswati, and Ramananda Roy. 5 sections, 5 essentials. And what he spoke about to each was different. In the section about Sanatana Goswami, his instructions to Sanatana Goswami, he speaks about, the samasti, the sum total of all living entities. And then he starts building a pyramid and going up and 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 up. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. But amongst all the different species, there's some in the human form, and some of the human form are civilized. And some of the humans that form that are civilized, some have good character, and it keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up. The top is, least in this list, is the Vaishnava. So respect to humans, respect to those who are civilized. That means they live according to Varnashram. Respect according to position, Raja, Maryada. Respect to the educated, those that have knowledge. Respect to those with good qualities, Sadguna, Maryada. Respect according to Varna, respect according to ashram, respect to devotion. The pyramid gets narrower as you go up and up. And respect is appropriate for anyone and anything. And respect commensurate with or proportionate to one's position. Civilized, someone takes a leadership position, education, so forth. That's what this list, you're going to see it again tomorrow, not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, where I'm going to take these terms so you can take note of the terms because you'll see them again and again. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gaur Leela taught these types of respect, or that within Chaitanya Charitamrita, these types of respect are displayed because it's the essence of etiquette. So it's there. Lord Chaitanya taught etiquette. He taught bhakti, but bhakti without etiquette. So it's just a starting point. It begins with respect. Now this list I found, just giving credit where credit is due. There's a very nice devotee, Madhavananda, who lives in Bhubaneswar. He's a disciple of Gaur Govinda.
Hare Krishna. So, any comments or any questions on the topic?
Prabhuji, your voice is so feeble.
Is it better now, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, now better.
Yes, Sharbari Mataji. Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's a beautiful lecture. So looking forward to hear more actually. That's it. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Any other devotees would like to mention any few comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Kumarika Devidasi. Actually, Maharaj pointed out that people who are entering the new entrants are going to evaluate even Srila Prabhupada on the basis of our behavior. So it is very important for each one of us to learn this Vaishnava Sadachar, because we may be putting off people from joining ISKCON far from preaching, our own behavior should not be a deterrent to somebody who would like to join the organization. So each and every one of us, we need to be careful. That was what I liked, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you for your point. Any other devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
One thing I was saying that how His Holiness Rampaswami Maharaj is thinking of ISKCON from 50 years down the line. And that is the characteristics of a visionary leader and who has dedicated his life for Srila Prabhupada mission. That so it's not about today, but how we could reach to the down the line 50 years. And in fact, in 2016, when we are celebrating 50th years of ISKCON, Maharaj already gave a class or was talking about that, how ISKCON should be there 100 years later, 150 years later, 200 years later. And that is what is Maharaj's dedication to his spiritual master, his Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Very exemplary, and Maharaj started with Vishnu Bhakti and Krishna Bhakti. That's the prayer that we offer to Tulsi Maharani. And Maharaj is so particular about that, how we are exactly following Srila Prabhupada, no deviation, following in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, instructions, and its footsteps. So very exemplary as a leader, especially for ISKCON movement today and down the line. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your points, Prabhu. Anybody else? Anybody's having any points or appreciation or comments?
If nobody is there,
I have one point, Prabhu.
yes, bro, please go ahead.
Yeah, Maharaj majorly mentioned like how we behave, that makes like a newcomer to get attract. Yeah, that's the main thing. And another thing what I observed was like, yeah, in between Maharaj was asked like some of the devotees to move forward, and for later like whoever comes they get the proper space. And later he mentioned as a sorry for making that move. So we can see here like it's not only mentioning and how he follows as a etiquette, like respecting uh, others, like so. We can see in his personal living how he is living, how he is respecting, how he is following the Vaishnava Sadhachar. Thank you, bro. Please continue, bro. Shaman, bro.
Thank you very much for bringing it home. A few points here. Raj, when he was speaking, I mean, like this topic in general, I feel it's one thing. It's about how we behave with each other, so that what do others think? But that's still a little far out. I find that when there is an absence of sadachar, that is proper devotional, what you call exchanges, or having the right achar or the way of living, when there is a problem in that, or when people or most people are actually not aware of it. They're not aware of it because we typically read scripture as a set of, hey, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. But Vaishnavachar is usually in the scriptures, it is not explicitly said. It is done in the form of how one person interacts with another person, or their thoughts are given, or their motivations are given sometimes. And that's how the foundation of Achar comes up, which is by observing the example of others, we get to know about Vaishnava Achar. And the problem with Vaishnava Achar is, at least from when you take it from the scriptures, it's not easy to discern it. Or in other words, it's very easy to skim through it because we are used to just getting some points from the books that we read or from the narrations, or even when a nice devotee comes, we don't see how they speak, how they act, how they behave. And an example to the contrary is what Guru Prabhu just did. He noted that Maharaj said that, okay, the people who are going to come later, please move in forwards so that everybody who's coming to the program is respected. That's one point. So it's not easy to figure it out. And at the same time, this achar is the one which makes many practicing devotees adamantly kanishta. In other words, because of our conditioning, we are very adamant to remain where we are. And part of our conditioning to remain where we are, this adamant kanishta nature, the way I'm calling it here, is that I do not see devotees the way I do not see devotees, or when I say devotees, I mean the devotees whom we meet and the great devotees, the acharyas, as also the persons in scripture. We don't see them, or we don't have the right adara, respect for it. Because when there is right respect for it, one will make space in one's heart for them. One will make space in one's schedule for them. One will make space uh, for bringing that great persons into the life of everybody else also. That's how respect actually flows. So that's one thing. But the thing that it's very easy to say offer respect. And Maharaj gave these various categories. Uh, in I mean, it started with at least to somebody as a human being, all the way to a person who's a bhakta. So most of us, I mean, not all of us are definitely human beings. So at least there has to be some respect to the human beings. That's the Naramatra Maryada, and I'm guessing Maharaj would speak a little more. But what happens is, it's very tough to offer respect if a component is missing, which is not knowing the other person. That's what Maharaj said. So we have to know the other person to offer some respect. And knowing the other person is not easy. It doesn't happen in a day's time. So how do we, I mean, we meet so many people in this world around us. How do we offer respect without even knowing them? And that's where we get the guidance from the scriptures that very easily we should be able to find out at least one good thing that they are doing. And if not any good thing, the very fact that somebody has been bestowed a human body means that they have done something nice in their previous lives. So at least for that reason, we need a proper respect. And respect is of various kinds. Yesterday, to some of you, I sent something on parenting. And one of the, and I like that it is something on parenting which Nityananda Pran Prabhu and Himangi Mataji has taught most of us over the course of several years or decades. But one of the things is a point that I just copy pasted mostly from a book, an excerpt from a book, is what is spoken about. It was about parenting, but it actually is very much relevant to relationships too. And one of the points that was spoken about there is traditional parenting revolves around control. It is obedience, discipline, and authority. But it so happens that when it is all about this obedience, discipline, and authority, the person at the receiving end, like the child, many times doesn't feel heard. And when the child doesn't feel heard or seen, they will then grow up into not respecting others, because a child feels I am not respected, and therefore I'm also not going to offer respect to others, because a child is out there to figure out an identity for itself. When the child grows up, he begins to try to find an identity for himself or herself. And in the process of finding the identity for oneself, the child disregards the identity of others. Why? Because the whole life then becomes a means for the child to retrieve that the child did not get. So, is it okay for a person to not bother about others and just say, hey, I had a traumatic childhood. Somebody was always trying to stamp their authority on me. And so, is it okay to do it? No. We may have various traumas, but it is through the process of this Shravanam that we begin to understand that we may not have had the best of childhood or the best of things in our past life, etc. That's okay. And yet, the moment we figure out that we are not bothered about how people around us can grow spiritually and how I can value for others for the little things they do, it means we are living a life of experience of living out the trauma of some other previous life. We have to get out of it. And sometimes it can help when we live in a community where we are seen, we are heard, we are valued, etc. And that is why when somebody gives us any assignment or a service or an activity to do, it actually is an indication that they value us, they have some trust in us. And why do people do it? It's just because the nice especially devotees, when they give a service to others, it's a means to say that I am recognizing you for the initiative, for the value, for the effort you have put in devotional service so far. May you do something more for Krishna. And we should ideally be happy that I have been given this opportunity to serve. Now, service can be of various levels. At least it starts with chanting of Krishna's holy name. So we have all been told by somebody, can you please chant? It's a nice service. We are over and above about chanting. We are given something more to. So the main point I wanted to say is we have to build a relationship with others, and when we build it, and that is the basis for respect, and we have to let go of our past conditioning sometimes in this path of Sadhaka. And we have to be ready for it and learn new ways of reciprocation from Krishna, people in this world, and other devotees in this world. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for elaborately giving the points. Okay. Is there any other point as a last?
It's just a request. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Dhanapranam.
Mataji, please.
This is Shamkan, Prabhuji. Prabhu, along with it, if in your long years of service to Guru and Vaishnava, if you must have seen points which are good or which are not good. So, if possible, whenever you recollect, if you can share some examples that um, doing this particular act was good or not good. So, if it's just a thought, Prabhu.
Sure. Yes, examples help always. I mean, I'm not saying by dint of experience, but I have seen this, and I was privileged to see good ones. I was privileged to see the not appropriate ones. Yeah, I'll try to verbalize it by via your blessings. I'll try to verbalize it if Krishna lets me remember it, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, it's 7:10. Thank you all devotees for joining the session. We will meet up tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम।